Hi everyone, this is Cherry Enchantress, and this is Pixie Dust Tarot if you're new to the channel. And I do a thing called the Daily Dust, where I do just a real quick reading using different tarot decks in my collection. And I just recently got this deck, and I feel like using it again. So I had to clear my throat. All right, so this is the tarot animal, or is also called something about the tarot of the wild. But yeah, it's just a lot of animal images with different artists. 81 different artists worked on this deck, so it's really cool. With this, look at that beautiful purple edge, and the little saying from Winnie the Pooh, A.A. Milne. Some people talk to animals, not many listen though. That's the problem. On my walk today, there was a squirrel, and I said hello to it, and I think it got a little mad at me because I wasn't listening to him. All right, let's give it a good shuffle. Here we go. I'd be curious to see what comes out today. Maybe we'll do a little of this, and a little of this. Just make sure we don't repeat. Ooh. And if you want to see the flip through of this deck, I did one that's should be a couple of videos down. Okay. Let's take off the top. Ooh, we have the Hermit. Nice. Okay. And the Wheel of Fortune. I like that little mouse. So cute. I just want to use this deck forever. Oh, what is that? Justice. Interesting. Interesting looking Justice with the Wise Owl. Looks like, though, overall, very good cards here. I'm going to zoom on in and get your reading. The Hermit's all about, you know, getting away, connecting with yourself, getting enlightenment, getting a bit of spirituality, staying away from the people, the crowds. Sometimes I feel like this is like the empath that maybe get a little bit overwhelmed by people, because the people can affect them emotionally, and it's almost like you get too attached, or you feel feelings too much, and you need your own time, you need your own space. Sometimes this doesn't have to do with any self-preservation. It's just simply seeking more knowledge. Also, you could be somebody who just wants to have a little retreat or a timeout, like a mom that needs their timeout. But it could also represent, I just see, you know, the traditional image is the hermit on the hill looking out over, like the Grinch, looking over Whoville. Now, hermits are usually, you know, charming and sweet people because they represent the sign of Virgo. But there is that kind of aspect with the Grinch, right? He's looking at this village or whatever, the Whoville, and feeling left out because he felt like he was sort of cast out. In the live action movie, it goes into some of the details of his childhood and stuff, and why he might have felt that way. It could have all, you know, just been a big perception problem. But, you know, people did laugh at him. He was different. But then, you know, in the cartoon, we don't really know. We just know about his heart is too small, and then his heart gets big at the end, like he learns a lesson. And not that that's you necessarily, but whenever we retreat, sometimes we do learn a little bit something, then we're just right up on it, you know. Sometimes we need a little perspective, okay? So I feel like that's kind of what's going on here. I'll tell you what the artist interpretation is. Far from the busier part of the garden, the little snail tucks herself away amongst the tomato plants. The comfortable evening temperature and the twinkling stars that are just beginning to show in the sky make it a perfect environment for her to take time and reflect. The snail pulls her cape hood over her head, turns her shell light on, and lights her lantern. The peacefulness is just what she needed. The message from the snail is, I can be here and wait and watch. I do not need company. I do not want noise and intrusion to disturb me. My solitude means I can focus within rather than on everything around me, not on the distractions the world provides, but on what is truly important to me. I can connect to myself, to my desires and needs, rather than what the world wants. This could be a message from a person of interest too, like, hey, sorry, I'm pulling back a little, but sometimes I just need a little break from distractions. Maybe they have to focus on work or something else, something else that's important to them, so that's why they might pull back. But overall, the snail is a small, unassuming creature. It's evolved, though, to be a master of self-care, kind of like a Virgo. Their ability to withdraw in their shell in order to protect themselves, combined with their way of moving slowly through the world with an almost supernatural awareness, means that being the snail is a perfect hermit for this deck. And that is one more thing to add to this. The spirituality here is like connection. You have connecting with your higher self, connecting with guides, your crown chakra kind of activating, and you're connecting even maybe your heart chakra, because the lantern to me represents the heart connection with humanity, right? So that, I think that could be it. During this season, sure, there's a lot of people hustling, bustling, and generally I think we just like people. We do, but we need our time and space up to ourselves sometimes too. So then the Wheel of Fortune's really amazing that it's here. Overall, it to me right away just means fortune, good luck, but it also means cycles. It can mean karma, it can mean contracts, it can mean lots of things having to do with astrology, like retrogrades, and because this is a reading for whenever you stumble upon it. It could be at a different date than I'm recording it, where you stumble upon it and it is... Did I even mention that I'm doing this for November 29th? Tuesday, November 20th. So I'm recording a day ahead of time. So for some of you, it is on this day, which there is no real retrogrades or anything, but there are always some kind of cycle. It could be like having to do with moon phases. It could be just a cycle in your life. It could be representing that you need to take a time out before you embark on this next. Maybe it's coming out of a vacation, because a lot of us were, especially in the United States, we were on a Thanksgiving break, and not everybody was, but a lot of people were. And now, and even kids, especially if you're a parent, your child might have been in a certain cycle. All right, I'm definitely reacting to these cards. First, I cleared my throat. Now I had to sneeze. I'm thinking, though, with kids, alarm clocks, going back to work. So with the clock here, just kind of, I think that also represents this need to get back into schedule. So you had a retreat, now you have to go back into schedule. Okay. And so a lot of you are doing that today, and some of you will start up again tomorrow. And it's a good thing. It's like, I feel like you had the rest and the relaxation that you needed, and you're ready to face the world again, basically, is kind of what it is to me. So the artist interpretation for the Wheel of Fortune, it features animals that are the Syrian hamster and newts. The Syrian hamster is a solitary creature, so it's interesting we have these solitary creatures here, which really resonated with me currently, given the solitude so many of us are experiencing during the pandemic. So this artist designed this during the pandemic, and a lot of people kind of stayed in that solitude position or situation, like if you stayed home and had to work from home. Some people decided, I actually like this. Yeah, this is a good idea. I'm going to just stay home and work from home if I can, So it was kind of cool, because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs and home-based business and Self-employment came out of that scenario. A lot of introspection came out of that scenario. And some of you, now I know this is post that situation for the most part, but some of you may be doing something like that now, like enjoying the time away from the hustle and bustle and thinking, I like this, you know? So hamsters are notoriously curious and industrious little creatures, and those qualities are essential for carving out your destiny and creating turning points in your life. It's also included newts because in the painting, their life cycle spans so much of our planet. They, like all of us, start out fully aquatic, only to become terrestrial at their midpoint and then return to the water for aquatic life as adults. And that cycle resonates with this artist because she's a parent, and that's funny I mentioned parenthood, having carried her son in her womb, and then then the life cycle back to the planet at the end of our life. So the message from the hamster is this: change is coming, it always is. With the passing of time, everything changes. So what will you do now? There's no point in fighting, but you can try to stay on top for as long as possible. You can make the most of it, embracing what comes and what it will bring you. Time does not stop, nor should you. So hamsters have a short but abundant life, and making the most of everything they have is kind of their what they represent here. Everything that comes their way before they have to hibernate, cramming life in their cheeks full of goodies, reminding humans not to miss or pass up any chance at making the most of life. Despite difficult situations, hamsters seemed a perfect wheel. Yeah, I like that. So wherever you are in your life, you just keep moving forward. You're going to have sometimes highs and sometimes lows. The last thing about the Wheel of Fortune that I like to mention is it gives me the sense whatever you put into a situation, you will receive. The Wheel of Fortune in Linda Goodman's Star Signs book is also the number 10, but it talks about doing good deeds and doing negative deeds, right? So you will receive what you put in, and so remember that, face the world in a positive way. And if you have to reassess your life or whatever, then go ahead and do that. But maybe it's time to make a different kind of change where you're going to give to the needy, because we got judgment or justice. Okay, justice and Wheel of Fortune together is so awesome, because this feels like a serious win, like a legal win, like winning some money or winning some kind of lawsuit or something like that. It's possible you've been in sort of retreat mode, trying to stay out of the limelight until this kind of settles down. And another thing that I'm hearing is some people who were waiting for their divorce to come through may have been kind of on the low key, like not seeing people, not dating, not trying to do too much until they finally got that thing. So that could be happening on this day too for some of you out there. So Justice is by Michael Calandra, and he says, I was tasked with creating the Justice card using an owl as the main character. I merged a double-edged sword with the scales of justice, balance symbolized by the two trees framing the owl, and a purple veil of color is used to convey passion. The feathers standing up on the owl's head are meant to give the impression of a crown, and a small light area on the owl's forehead to represent clear thoughts and fairness. I also decided that owl's eyes should be clear to symbolize that justice is blind and impartial. Okay, nice. So the owl is a little bit blind. So yeah, it's about balance and marriage, and marriage and documents and legal matters and divorce. It represents all of those things, the same things that Libra represent: fairness, balance, those kinds of things. So here's the message from the owl. I'm not interested in lies or excuses. I am blind to everything that I may distract, seeking only truth. Yeah, it's about truth and justice, right? If you face me and are untrue, you must pay the price. All your actions have consequences. You will take responsibility for both mistakes and accomplishments. Do not let the world tempt you. Do the right thing, as you will in time receive what you are due. So it's another kind of karma feeling, right? And whatever you put in, you receive. So justice does a similar thing that as the Wheel of Fortune does. You know, spin the wheel where it lands, but some of it has to do with your actions. Justice balancing, you know, your behavior with what you receive, you know. The owl is a beautiful but deadly creature, symbolizing knowledge and wisdom and having otherworldly quality to them, meaning that owls were our first choice for justice in this deck, and the silence with which they move, the keen sight and evolved perspective that lets them avoid distractions and get to the heart of the matter, as well as their flight, suggest a character who could see beyond facts and see the truth. Well, there's facts and then there's facts, right? And it's interesting, like maybe also in our political climate, there could be something, you know, coming out, truth, and then there's truth. You know, what is the truth? We have personal truths, right? But our personal truth is not always the actual truth. And I feel like justice is a good way of looking blindly at, you know, without emotion, without prejudice. That's a big one, you know, without prejudice at things. So there could be something that you have to look at without prejudice, without your ego involved. And that could be a phase that you're going through right now, a time out to be with yourself, to reflect, to see the cycles and patterns that you might have been through, and to not judge, but just observe yourself or observe others in the context of life without prejudice, without criticism, and know that we're just human in a human experience, spiritual beings in a human experience. And interesting how we act and react to certain things, right? So I think that's all it is. It's just a little reflective day today. Nothing really major, but for some of you, it could be some major news about marriage or divorce. You know, it could be a major change in your life cycle too coming through. All right. So I hope you like that. Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust.